أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين حبيبنا وحبيب إليه العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد عليكم السلام صلى على محمد وآل محمد وعلى طيبين الطاهرين معصومين ولا سيما بقية الله في العارضين ولعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum to the brothers and sisters. We are embarking on the second of Muharram, the third night but the second day. And may inshallah these majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein bring the coming of our Imam day to day sooner, and may it purify our hearts and our souls so that we inshallah may be the followers and the soldiers of Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam. As we mentioned in the lecture yesterday, we said the meaning of what religion is. We summarized it in the program. It is a software for a person. If the human body is the hardware, religion is the software designed so that we can live our lives according to how Allah Azza wa Jal, our Creator, has seen it fit for us to live. So it's a divine. We gave some logical answers. We gave some nas answers, nas in Arabic meaning literal writings, as in the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, that this is the correct way to live. And if the brothers and sisters remember, of course we said that through time we can see that the way of living of mankind has changed. And no one government has kept it exactly the same. It hasn't been even for 20 years, 30 years. Even laws have changed. But when we reached Islam, it has been the same. The laws have been the same. Now, of course, I just wanted to add something in this lecture today, is that, of course, even when we say it is the same in an umbrella sense, not that it's the same exactly throughout. Because, of course, the good thing about our fiqh, our ahkam, our laws, is that it can change from time to time. Not change in its essence, but according to the time that it is. For example, we did not have Bitcoin and all these different cryptocurrencies back in the day of the Prophet, or even 50, 60 years ago. However, we have that now. Now, the problem in hand did not exist. However, how do we solve this? Exactly with the fiqh that we had. So new things might come in, and that is in some senses a change. However, the essence, the skeleton, the foundation of it has not changed. Whether it be the belief system, what we believe in, and the laws and regulations that the Prophet of Islam, Prophet of the world, I should say, of everyone, has said it is haram, it is haram. No one can change that, and no one will change that, and no one should change that. Then we came to the reason, these meaning and it being a program, and the importance of in every aspect of our lives, whether it be in law, morality, whatever it may be. We gave evidence of it in the life of who? The Prophet, in the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, and in the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. With, of course, the khutbah that he read when he reached Karbala, and the letter that he sent to the people of Kufa, which we mentioned yesterday. Now, another reason, so a continuation of that Imam Hussein alayhi salam left Mecca in the first place to go towards Kufa, these are all evidence to this being the program, this religion being a true program for mankind. is that the motivation behind the uprising and the movement of Sayyid al-Shuhada, peace be upon him, one of them was that he was the Imam of the people. And this has a meaning. This being the Imam of the people has a meaning. And it has some weight to it, that he himself is obliged. He must abide by it himself. And one of the followers of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was the follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen as well, comes to the Imam and says to the Imam, "Oh Imam, I warn you that the people of Kufa, you cannot trust them. And I believe that if you embark on this journey, you will be killed. You will be martyred." Now this said person himself, when Imam was leaving towards, of course, Kufa, he took permission that let me go and take care of my family, put them a safe place, and I will come back. And the Imam accepted. Now he was a very great man, very good man. However, the shahadat of the day of Ashura is not for everyone. That's a special follower of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. May inshallah we be one of those special ones, one of those special followers of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. The shahadat that happened on the day of Ashura, it was not for everyone. Many of the followers of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, they left to take care of their family or go do other things, and they did not have the tawfiq. They were not spiritually, they were not inside their heart in that purity that those 72 and the family of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, they were not there yet. They did not have that intensity in their hearts yet. So it wasn't for everyone. Not that we're saying that they're bad, it's just that maqam, that status was so high. Now, the Imam answers back to him and says that I have a contract, I have a ahad, I have a promise to the people of Kufa. See, at this point, Imam Hussein obviously does not know that we're not talking about the ilm of ladunni, which I want to explain in this lecture today. With normal knowledge, and every Imam and the Prophet is supposed to act upon the normal knowledge, not the hidden knowledge that they have. No one has said that the Kufis have gone against what they have promised to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Today being the day of Muslim ibn Aqil, the letter was not sent. He was martyred before he could warn Imam Hussein alayhi salam of what is being unfold in Kufa. So Imam Hussein, of course, leaves and says, I must leave. Why? Because there is an ahd between me and the people of Kufa. They have wanted something from me, and I have said, yes, I must abide by my word. Even it be that I will be killed on the way. Because Allah is in the place of haqq. And me as an imam, I must abide by what I've said myself. Have I not said that you should abide by your ahd? Has the Quran not said this? Has the riwayats of the Prophet has not said this? That if you promise something and you have an ahd with someone, you must abide by what you've said. Now this, brothers and sisters, this can encircle many different areas. The ahd and the promise that we give our kids. For example, in upbringing of kids, this is extremely important. Because in the early stages of their lives, us as their parents, we are the embodiment of God for them. We're their creator. And if you want to show them that keeping your promise is very important, you should show it through action and not just by saying it. So if you promise your kids something, make sure you abide by it. Your parents, your friends, your co-workers, non-believers, believers, it does not make a difference. If you have said something that you must do yourself, you've said to someone you must do something, then you must also abide by it, because it's an ahd. That itself, in essence, in a way, it can be as an ahd. Of course, many of you know the story of Amir al-Mu'mineen when he couldn't say to the young kid, don't eat dates, because he had had dates that day himself. He told the father, go and come back another day. Famous story, everyone knows it. Because he himself has done so, he won't tell another person not to do that. And here, brothers and sisters, I want to mention to you an important story, a true story, between two of the greatest ulama, two of our great ulama of Shia, scholars of Shia. One, Sayyid Bahrul Ulum, which does not need any introduction, doesn't need any explanation. Sayyid Bahrul Ulum, if I want to just summarize him, he is famous for being the friend of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Oh, sallallahu. Truly one of the greatest of the ulama, of the scholars of Shia. It is famous that he had contact with the Imam at his time. This word of Bahrul Ulum was a laqab, was a name that Imam al-Zaman himself gave to him. Bahrul Ulum, meaning the sea or the ocean of knowledge. He was an allama, he had many different knowledges. Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi says he's one of the three that are the closest in Tawheed. The Tawheed, the maqam, the status that this individual has reached, also Sayyid Ibn Tawus, is like no other person from the time of the Prophet till now. So Sayyid Bahrul Ulum, a great scholar, Marhum Naraqi, a great scholar, a great allama. The stories between these two individuals. Now Marhum Naraqi has a book called Jami' Sa'adat. It's 3 volumes in Arabic. It's one of the most essential books of akhlaq, Islamic akhlaq, throughout generations. It's one of the most important books. Now, the more famous one, that it's very famous in Iran at least, is Mi'raj al-Sa'adat, which his son wrote it, a summarized version in 1 volume in Farsi. It's called Mi'raj al-Sa'adat. But Jami' al-Sa'adat, which is the original one in 3 volumes, it's in Arabic. Now one day, this book, by the way, these two individuals are in the same time. This book is given to Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. He sees this book, he starts reading it, and he says, this is an amazing book. He looks, he says, oh, who's this Naraqi? Because Sayyid Bahrul Ulum, remember, he's in Najaf, he's in Iraq, and Marhum Naraqi is in Iran. He reads this book, he keeps on talking about the status of this book, and this writer must be a very knowledgeable scholar, and this is an amazing book. Time goes by, and Marhum Naraqi decides to go for ziyarah to Iraq, to go to Karbala, Najaf, and Qadhimiyya, and so on and so forth. It is custom that ulama go to see each other, especially when they go to these cities and other ulama are there. So as Marhum Naraqi comes to Iraq, each of the ulama go to see him. And they of course give the news to Marhum Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. Did you know that Marhum Naraqi, the person that you were saying so many good things, that how great of a man he is and how great of a book he has, do you know that he's come, he's here in Iraq? And he said, oh, okay. So Sayyid Bahrul Ulum doesn't acknowledge it. He says, okay, doesn't say anything. And after, it's custom that after the ulama come to visit you should go visit them. So then time goes by, and Marhum Naraqi goes to visit every single of those ulama that have come to visit him, to their houses. So he goes one by one, and he says to his students and followers that are around him, okay, let's go to the house of Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. Because even at the time, he was one of the great Maraja of the time. And his followers say, Sheikh, he didn't come to see you. He said, it doesn't matter he didn't come to see me. We will go see him. He's such a great man. He's Aqa. The left says that he's Aqa. He's very great. So he goes and sees him. Enters his house. Sayyid Bahrul Ulum doesn't acknowledge him. He says, Salaam alaikum. He says, Salaam alaikum. He sits down. And Marhum Naraqi is there for 1 hour, sitting down. And Sayyid Bahrul Ulum is speaking to other people, doesn't really acknowledge him. Maybe a few words are said, and that's it. Marhum Naraghi sits down for 1 hour and then gets up, says Khudafiz, says his goodbyes and leaves. He leaves and goes and does his ziyarats and so on and so forth. A few days, a week goes by, and then he says to his students, while we're still here, let's go see Sayyid Bahrul Ulum one more time. He's such a great man. And all his disciples and students say, why? The way that he acted with you was very cold. He said, doesn't matter. He's a great man. Let's go see him again. So, Marhum Naraghi goes to him again. This time, Sayyid Bahrul Ulum was even colder. No, just answers his salam, that's it, because it's wajib. And doesn't say anything. And again, Marhum Naraghi sits for 1 hour, gets up, says his goodbyes, and leaves. Now, again, a few days go by, does more ziyarats, and Marhum Naraghi packs up his bags. He's about to leave and go back to Iran. He says, let's see Marhum Bahrul Ulum one more time. It's such a shame if we're here not to see such a great man, such a great... When I see him, I remember Tawheed. It is narrated, he says, when I see Marhum Bahrul Ulum, I remember Tawheed. I think of Allah. So again, they go to see Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. One of his students sees, Sayyid Bahrul Ulum's student sees that Marhum Naraghi is coming to see Sayyid Bahrul Ulum. So he goes ahead and informs Sayyid Bahrul Ulum that Marhum Naraghi is coming to see you. This time, Sayyid Bahrul Ulum gets out of his house without his imamah, without his shoes, and he goes to the beginning of the road to greet him. Not at the doorstep, at the beginning of the road, waiting for Marhum Naraghi to come. All of his students are shocked. First, he was this cold and he didn't even want to speak to Marhum Naraghi. What? This is complete opposite behaviors. As soon as Marhum Naraghi comes, he grabs his hand, hugs him, brings him into the house, sits him at the front of the majlis, speaks to him. And then Sayyid Bahrul Ulum said, I wanted to see these things that you've written in your own book. Do you abide by it yourself? The things that you've written yourself. See the importance? He says, I wanted to shake your cup, or this bowl that you have, the bowl of your soul, and shake, see if I see any dirt rise up. You know when you have a bowl, and if there's, for example, dust or mud at the bottom, and you shake it a little bit, the whole water becomes murky. But if there is no mud, there is no dust, there is no impurity in this water, no matter how much you shake it, it's still pure. Only when someone shakes you and you have a bad reaction, it's not because of the person that they shook you a little bit, it's because of the impurity in ourselves. And there Sayyid Bahrul Ulum said, I truly saw that you have abided by the things that you have written yourself. It's an ahd. When I write something, when I say something, I must abide by it myself. He says, I wanted to test you. And truly you are a man of Allah. You are a true man of Islam, a true alim, a true scholar. That you've written these beautiful things in your book and you abide by it yourself as well. Now when Imam Hussein alayhi salam says you must abide by your ahd, he himself, even though he knows that on the way, let's even say that he doesn't reach Kufa, and the army of Yazid, la'natullah alayhi, will reach him, but still because of the ahd he gave, and because he is Imam in the first place. Pay attention, the reason was that he is the Imam. Now of course, if we look at it in a very simplistic way, yeah, of course, he wasn't the ruler at the time. Yazid was the ruler. But in reality, the truth is that the Imam of the time was Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And everything revolved and orbited around Imam Hussein alayhi salam. All of existence. All of existence. Not even a leaf on a tree falls to the floor without the izn, without the permission of the Imam of the time. And this is the way that we should be looking at our Imam at the moment. Yes, he's in Qaybat. But the analogies that we have and the description of the Imam Zaman that we have in our riwayat, in our hadith, it is said he's like the sun behind a cloud. We might not see him, but the brightness is still there. It's very interesting that usually when they want to give an example of the Imams, it's always with light. And of course the normal way of thinking is that, okay, they're light because they're so pure. But pay attention to the example. What light does, it allows you to see. Light allows you to see. It is as if the light was not there, that nothing really exists, because you can't see anything. You have no way, you have no path. I've heard this question many times, especially with people that want to follow spirituality, and they say, oh, I don't want to really follow a religion, but I want to be very spiritual. Can you be spiritual without the Ahlul Bayt? Can you go to this path? And the example is, can you get out of a tunnel and a cave without light? Immersed in darkness. And there's only one way out, because there's only one truth, not many truths. Logically, it's impossible to have many truths. You have one truth. For you to reach it in pure darkness, with no light, with no way. That's why the Imams are the example of light. They show us the way. They're literally like a torch for us to hold in front of us so that we can see the way. We can see the way forward. So this ahd is in a way that even if the Imam has to give his life for the people of Kufa, because he said that I must abide by the ahd that I give. And he's an example. Brothers and sisters, these little things, that they're really not little, they're immense, they're very great. From the time that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein not left Mecca, but left Medina. We see this in the Dua of Arafah, we see this in many different places. That each of it was to bring back Islam from the murky waters, the muddy waters. At that time they said, okay, listen, the convey of the message of the Prophet was done, as we see so many of sects of Islam say this right now. It was done, we know the way. Hasbuna kitab Allah, as one of these people said. Only the kitab Allah is enough for you to find salvation. And there is a difference between a leader, a political leader at the time, which can be chosen by anyone. All people, it should be ijma'. They throw this word around. We should pick its democracy. And religion. So there's two things. If someone rises up and takes the political power of Muslimin, that's completely different to Islam. This one thing, which seems to be not that important, was extremely important for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as we've shown in these few examples and the things that Imam Hussein himself has said. Otherwise, why would he risk his life, his family's life, his kids? Why would he risk all of this for what? For something that was not wajib, for something that was not as important to give their lives for? It was a must of Allah. As you see, Yazid and Muawiyah had destroyed Islam to this now. It's been 70 years that on the minbar, people are doing la'an of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Can we just for a second think about how much Islam has gone astray? In that point when they heard Amir al-Mu'mineen was martyred in sajdah, in namaz, they said, did Amir al-Mu'mineen really pray? This was the propaganda back then. Amir al-Mu'mineen, which Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, the biggest of his fazila is the fact that in the Quran it says, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, was the nafs of the Prophet. Salawat. Allah. That's his greatest, as if he is just like the Prophet. Exactly according to the narration that we have, that the Prophet says, after me is Ali. The only difference is, as after me, just like Harun is after Musa, the only difference is after me there's no Nabi. Now of course Nabi is because the message was complete. The message, when it's complete, there is no new message. أكملت لكم دينكم, and that happens with the coming of Imam Ali alayhi salam, as in imamat. When we say أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي, it means imamat, that after the Prophet, this continuation of the line of a living person to explain to you how you must live. Because if there is one truth, then why is there so many sects of Islam? Why is it that every single person has a different opinion? There should be one opinion, the divine opinion, which the Imam brings. Now to answer the question of, well, if Imam Hussein alayhi salam knew that he was going to be killed, the comparing of ilm al-ladunni, which is the ilm, the hidden knowledges that they know, and the knowledge that we all have, the normal knowledges, the normal ilm, the normal knowing. So of course, in the normal sense, Imam Hussein alayhi salam didn't know that the people of Kufa are going to betray him. Why? There was no evidence. They sent Imam Hussein alayhi salam a letter. They say, come to Kufa. We've had enough of Yazid and his despicable and tyrannical government. Come here, we will start a government ourselves, opposing his government. No evidence for anything to show that they're going to be disloyal. And on the other hand, we know the ilm of ladunni, as in the hidden knowledge, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam of course knows that they're going to betray him. Now this example is everywhere with the Ahlul Bayt. Amir al-Mu'mineen, there's no evidence that if he goes into the Masjid of Kufa that he will be martyred. Normal people, normal sense, we wouldn't know. However, with the ilm of ladunni, the hidden knowledges, that they are connected to Allah Azza wa Jal directly. Please, for this, if you want to truly, just in brackets, brothers and sisters, if you truly want to know the maqam of the Ahlul Bayt, read Ziyarat al-Jami' Kabira from Imam Hadi alayhi salam. It is a literal biography of what the Imams are. It is the explanation of what the Imams are. Ziyarat al-Jami' Kabira. At least the explanation that we can understand. Of course, there is even higher than this, but we might not be able to even fathom. But the capability of us being able to fathom is in that. Their knowledge is like the knowledge of Allah. They're connected. They're completely connected. They don't do anything that Allah doesn't want them to do. They are complete servants of Allah. So they're completely connected. And for example, the Prophet. Did the Prophet not know that some of his companions that are around him were not truly Muslims, let's say? Or so many of people around the Prophet were not being completely honest with the Prophet, and after his death they would try to distort the truth. With ilm al-ladunni, he knew. However, with normal knowledges, just like me and you, there was no evidence for it. They didn't leave an evidence for it. So this is the question. Now for the answer. The Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt are whose example? An example for me and you. They are supposed to show us how to live. Now, if they act every single time upon the ilm of ladunni, the hidden knowledges that they know, the knowledges that we cannot even fathom, we do not know, what kind of an example is that for us? Then Allah should give us all of these hidden knowledges, and then we can also decide. But that's not the case. They are an example for us. In some instances, it is the case that Allah tells them, listen, with this ilm I give you, you should do this. And that is times that Allah sees fit. For example, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, where he leaves Medina because he knows what's going to happen. They leave Medina because they're about to attack Medina and pillage and so on and so forth. He takes his family away from Medina, and then when it's done, comes back in. Some things, and even there, some scholars have argued that it wasn't even ladunni. It was obvious that this was going to happen. If someone had tahleel, had the power of just deciphering what's going to happen politically in that situation, they can foresee this. And we can see so many great leaders do this, even today. They can foresee something happening, they know that this is going to happen, and they try to find a solution before this happens. So even that can be answered. Now, if an imam is supposed to be my example, he cannot always act upon the ilm of ladunni. He should be completely just like us. And because it is even harder, imagine, you know you're going to be martyred. You know this. With this knowledge that you know, you must act completely normal. It's as if the imam and some of the awliya of Allah, the friends of Allah, the people that have reached high levels of spirituality, when you come to them, they know what's going on with your life. We even have a riwayat about this, that they can see from your face in what state you are, what sins you've committed, what this you've done, so on and so forth. However, they act completely normal. They don't act upon what they can see. They act normally, how a normal person would be. We have many of these examples in our hadith with Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, with Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. They don't show this. In some instances, they do show it. Why? To shake that person, to remind them, listen, fix up your act. Fix up what you're doing. In that instance, it's different. So even though they know, the imam knows what is going on, he doesn't act upon this. And brothers and sisters, this goes on in every instance of Karbala, because these propagandas and shubahat have been mentioned many times. Oh, if Imam Hussein alayhi salam knew, why did he bring his 6-month-old son? Oh, if Imam Hussein knew, why did he do this? If Imam Hussein knew, why did he do this? He is not supposed to act upon his hidden knowledge. The normal thing at that time is that if any normal, sane person would come and ask for water, and please, brothers and sisters, go read the history of the wars that Arabs used to have at that time. It wasn't in these movies that, oh, there's one line and another line and they just attack. The reason that it takes so much, at the beginning, one warrior goes and fights with one warrior. It's a battle to a battle. And when one person gets killed in that battle, the next person takes his place. And we can see, for example, in Ali Akbar alayhi salam, when he came, of course, every single person he was killing with his sword. Then they decided, listen, we cannot do this. So they actually broke the laws of battle in that time, and many came, where they created such like a road where at both ends he was being attacked from both sides, and that's the way that they were able to martyr him, breaking the laws of battle. That reminds you a lot of Israel, doesn't it? It's the same case. Over there, this was the way to do battle. Now, did they know that this is going to happen? with normal laws and normal laws of battle at that time, with whether it be the war of Khawarij, whether it be for example, the war of Jamal, whether it be Siffin, so on and so forth. Usually, not in all instances, especially Siffin, they were abiding by the laws of battle. But in the battle of Karbala, every single law was broken. Every single law. They attacked in numbers, one by one of the people. They cut off water. They cut off transport to be food to come in, for them to leave. They did everything to weaken them. And this is not just soldiers. This is women and children as well. This is people that were wounded. This is people that were sick at the time. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Did they care? Of course not. Why? Because it was a tyrannical government. And this is another reason that I wanted to mention tonight. The reason for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein leaving to make a government in Kufa to stand up against the governance of Yazid, which was awful and injustice and non-Islamic in every single way. A ruler that himself did not abide by any of the laws of Islam and made the people of Kufa with threats and some of them with bribery to turn away from the Imam. Anything that you can think of. Not a single law of Islam was done correctly. Even the Imam Jama'at in his governance would come and pray Salat Jama'at while being drunk. While being drunk. Let alone not drinking at all, but being drunk while praying. This would happen in Mecca, this would happen in Medina, this would happen. Now, this is not accepted. And as we explained the lecture before, it is a must for Imam Hussein alayhi salam to speak out against this tyrannical government. Yet still, when he reaches Karbala and he realizes, okay, so the people of Kufa have betrayed me. See, this is what I say, it's a form of deontological ethics, as in I have to see what my wazifa, what I must do at the time. See, before he leaves, Imam Hussein's duty is to go to Kufa because there is people that want to defend him and they say come here. His duty is to go to Kufa and make a governance. Now he realizes, okay, so the people have come away from this. They don't want it anymore. What's my duty now? Duty. It's a matter of duty. My duty now is to protect my life as an imam and these other people, because we don't have a safe haven anymore. We don't have a government anymore. So he says to the army of Yazid, let me go back. This is the reason for him saying go back. So yes, of course. So people that say no, Imam Hussein did not stand up against her, he did. Of course he did. Because there was an option for it as well. He stood up. People were not loyal to him. He realized there is no opportunity now. What's the duty? See, duty. What does Allah want now? Okay, I must go back then. I'll go back to Medina. And this answers exact question that many Shias ask now. Why did Imam Hassan alayhi salam accept the peace treaty with Muawiyah, but Imam Hussein alayhi salam, no, he rose up. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, there's a riwayat, there's a hadith that says if he points at some sheep to his followers, he says, if I had followers the amount of the sheep that you see, and they say that it was just a handful of sheep there, true followers, I would do qiyam and I would rise up myself. So if he rose up, it was a suicide mission. Suicide is haram. So there was not enough soldiers to fight for Imam Hassan alayhi salam. When the lie was told before that Imam Hassan alayhi salam wanted to make a peace treaty, when the lie was given to them that Imam Hassan was going to do sulh, what did they do? They came into the tent of Imam Hassan alayhi salam while he was praying, pulled the praying mat from under his feet so that he would fall on the floor, and they would take a poisonous dagger to his thigh. These are his own followers. So they're not really followers, are they? With these, and then of course they left, and Imam Hassan alayhi salam was left with even less followers. So they left. Now in the instance of Imam Hussein, a whole city of Kufa is saying, come to me, come here. They're asking their Imam, come here, and we want you here, and we want a governance with you as the head, with you as the true leader. So it is Imam Hussein's duty to leave. He cannot say no. He's an Imam. Remember the reason we gave? He's the Imam. His duty is to leave. Whether it be that on this way he will die, he will be martyred, he will be shaheed. And that is exactly what Imam Hussein alayhi salam says to this follower. He says, whether Allah is in the place of haqq, whether it be that I will be martyred and have shahadat on this way, then this is, and I'm paraphrasing, then this is the will of Allah. So there's a chance of it, but I don't know. There is still a chance of me going to Kufa and making a government that will abide by the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal, so that we can have people that can be children that will be born into this government, that slowly we are going to make a governance of Allah where everyone abides by the laws of Allah, the true Islam. And this can spread. People see the justice, it will spread. People will like this. They will adopt this Islam that we show, the true Islam, the Islam of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They reach to Karbala. They were unfaithful. Duty here, okay, I must go back. However, in the natural sense, this being able to go back was taken away from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Now again, see, duty. We're learning that, remember when we said about morality and all of these should come out of Islam and the laws of Allah and the laws that the actions of the Ahlul Bayt. Because hadith is not only, brothers and sisters, what they've said. Even the actions of the Ahlul Bayt are for us hadith. Even the silence of the Ahlul Bayt for us is hadith. If someone, we have this in fiqh, we have this in jurisdiction. If someone comes and performs a salat, a prayer in front of an imam, if it's not taqiyya, and imam says nothing, that salat is accepted. Because imam didn't say, imam has a duty to correct that person if they're doing it wrong. Imam didn't say anything, that for us is hadith. Imam does an action himself. For example, in prayer, he takes qunut. Alaykum salam. Qunut becomes a part of prayer. His action for us is hadith. Now the action of Imam Hussein alayhi salam throughout Karbala is duty, is nothing but duty. He acts upon duty completely. What does that show us? That our morality, our ethics are gone on the duty that Allah wants us to do. It is all to do with duty. Now, Imam Hussein is stopped in Karbala, he cannot go forward, he cannot go back. What's his duty now? To not do anything and wait to be killed? Or wait to starve or to die of thirst? No, of course it's not. We should break these barriers. Either break the barriers so that we go towards Kufa, or break the barriers and go towards Medina. That's my duty now. And inshallah in the later nights we want to talk about exactly what Imam Hussein alayhi salam even said in the Qawdal and the Qatlagah, when he was on the battlefield being martyred. Even then he was thinking about duty, his duty towards Allah Azza wa Jal. It was wajib on him to do qiyam at that moment in time. This is the importance. For Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, this qiyam, this uprising was not wajib. Why? Because he didn't have the resources that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had. For Imam Baqir, same thing. For Imam Sadiq, exactly same thing. Imam Musa Kazim was 14 years in prison. How did he even have the opportunity? And every single Imam after that. When we get to Imam Zaman alayhi salam, the question is, doesn't Imam Hussein alayhi salam, there's no difference between him and Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Would it not be his duty to rise and come and lean on the wall of Kaaba and call out, Ala ya Ahl al-Alam? Why is he not doing that? Because he doesn't have soldiers. This is where we should weep. He does not have soldiers. He does not have enough people that are sincere to him. And I say this first to myself, sincere to him for him to stand up and rise up. That would truly give their life for Imam. Not just their life, their loved ones, everything they own. One of the most important things to people, unfortunately, their money even. For their Imam. Otherwise, if there was enough people, it would be wajib for Imam to rise up. He's an Imam, he's infallible. Why is he not rising up? The reason is with us. Even us Shias. Because if the 313 or 10,000 of these were enough, how many millions of Shias do we have around the world? Are you telling me 1 million of them, 500,000 of them were completely sincere? Imam Zaman alayhi salam would not rise up? It is wajib on him. So when Imam says to Bibi Zainab alayhi salam that, "O Zainab, can you see how alone I am?" They've cut us from, obviously the Kufis are disloyal. Now we cannot go back. I don't have enough warriors. Look at this, the army of Yazid. Can you see how lonely I am? Bibi Zainab alayhi salam says, "Please take us back to Medina. Take us back to our beloved grandfather, to the Prophet." And there, of course, Imam Hussein, his reply is, "If I could, we would. But we can't." So see, the duty has changed. This is just an evidence for what we've said. But it will be such that me and my family will walk these plains alone. And O Zainab, after I am gone, I'm worried about you and the children and what will happen to you. That you will be even lonelier. The men amongst you will go. They will be shaheed and martyred. Assalamu alaykum. Ya Aba Abdullah. Brothers and sisters, can you think of another person that was alone? Today we are devoting today to him. He was not alone in Karbala, but he was alone in Kufa. And his heart yearned to go back to his master, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And cursing himself that why did I have to send that letter that, "Oh Imam Hussein, come to Kufa. These people are sincere. May I have died and not sent this letter to Imam Hussein." This is what is in Muslim ibn Aqil's thoughts. He resembles his Imam so much when he's alone in Kufa. He turns around and sees no one behind him in prayer. No one is there. Everyone has left. Of course, nothing is like the plains of Karbala when Imam Hussein alayhi salam is alone in that qatl-qa. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. In the city of Kufa, shadows fall. Muslim ibn Aqil stands tall, a messenger of truth, a beacon bright, sent by Hussein to seek the light. He came with hope, his heart so pure, to test the faith, to ensure what? To ensure the people's pledge to their Imam, their loyalty sworn. But soon their promise was torn. With threats and bribes, the tyrant's hand turned hearts of clay, shifted sand. Abandoned now, Muslim Naqil was abandoned, no one around him. Now by those he trusted, in betrayal's grip, dreams were dusted. Alone he stood in the hostile land, with faith unyielding, a final stand. Still Muslim Aqil, he thought about his duty, what his duty at that moment in time. He was still thinking about his Imam and the promise he was giving his Imam. All of the brothers and sisters know that the story of how he will be martyred was told to him by Imam Ali alayhi salam. And exactly what Imam Ali alayhi salam had said happened. On Darul Imara, captured, bound, yet his spirit high, in darkness deep, no light or ray, a martyr's blood so pure, so red, in Kufa street, where he was led, his sacrifice, a tale of woe. In history's vein, forever you shall flow. For truth he fell, for justice cried, a martyrdom embraced, he died. O Muslim, brave with heart of steel, may inshallah we also resemble Muslim in our last life, that last breath that we're going to give. Your story pain with deeply feel. In Karbala, shadow, your name resounds in every tear. Your memory found in the mind of Muslim ibn Aqil. He's not thinking about his own death. He's only thinking of Hussein. Altogether, Hussein, Hussein. No death was like the death of Hussein. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون باسمك العظيم الأعظم بك يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله. May inshallah all of us be the followers of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, be the followers of Imam Zaman the way that Muslim ibn Aqil was the follower of his Imam. Salawat.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي